What's up, y'all? It's your boy Spider 3.0, keeping the action going with the Toybiz 2002 Superposeable Spider-Man action figure. How's it going, guys? I know it's been a minute. It has been a minute, but your boy is back and bringing in the reviews heavy. So here we go. Got to keep the Spidey collection going. You already know. So yeah, today we're taking a look at this guy. It has been, man, a long time coming for this figure, guys. I've wanted this guy since I was a kid. Never was able to get him. Ever since that first Spider-Man movie came out, man, that was like, man, I've watched that movie like more times than I can count. It's crazy. I used to know this movie like, word for word, absolutely like everything by heart. And to this day, I kind of still do. So, yeah, Spider-Man is obviously my favorite hero. For those of you that don't know, but yeah, man, I always wanted a 6 inch, version of that suit, that particular first movie suit, because it's honestly probably like my favorite live action suit when it comes to Spider-Man. It's just iconic at this point. It's what I grew up on. It's, the image that I had in my head most of the times when I would think of, Spider-Man. And, for those that know, those that pay attention to detail know that his costume did change between the first and second movie, and even a little bit from the second to third movie as well. So but this, I don't know. I feel like the first movie suit just has a specific look to it that I really, really enjoy a little bit more than the second and third movies. Not to say that those suits were bad at all, but I just really, really like the first movie suit. It's just something about it, man. It's just so freaking cool. But yeah, man, this is that figure today, so we're gonna get into all of that. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll say it now, so I want to save it to the end of the video. But if you're new, be sure to subscribe, man. Got a lot of videos coming to the channel, more content, comics, man, just all kinds of stuff. We're gonna be talking about films on this channel, different art, yeah, just all, music, all kinds of stuff. So be sure to subscribe if you're new to your boy so you don't miss out on any dope content. But without further ado, let's get into this guy. So obviously I got him loose off of eBay. He goes for a lot now. He's technically a collector's item now, so he goes for a lot more than you know he was back in the day. Obviously, he was a lot cheaper when he first came out way back in, I think, 2002 or 3 is when he was released. The movie came out 2002, but I think he might have been released like a year after. But yeah, he is a Toy Biz figure, so he's not technically a Marvel Legends, but obviously, a lot of people are still going to refer to him as a Marvel Legends figure because he's of that type of caliber as far as like detail, articulation, and things like that. In the original packaging, he did come with a gargoyle like base, but I don't have that. The seller was selling him loose, so I don't have that. I don't have the original packaging either. But I didn't really care about all that too much. If there's a way where I can get maybe the gargoyle base like cheap, later on, that would be cool. But my main concern obviously was getting this guy. So here he is. Let's take a close look at him real quick. He looks dope, man. So one thing I love about Toy Biz and something that I really miss about them as a figure company is they absolutely killed it usually when it came to the the details. They always went in when it came for the came time to put the details into their figures. They really just shined. I feel like in that particular department for action figures, and this figure is no exception. I mean, just look at that. I really love the choice of red and blue that they went with. I would say overall it's pretty movie accurate. I think the blue might. I think the blue is overall a right color. I think maybe just like a touch darker, and it would have been like truly, truly movie accurate. But overall, I think it's pretty movie accurate. I really like the color of red and blue that they used for this. Very classic type of Spider-Man colors. I feel like it takes that nice kind of bright red and blue from the comics and just adds a little bit of oh, there he, there he goes. Yeah, he's a little hard to stand sometimes. My bad. But yeah, they just added like a nice touch of like darkness to it. I feel like just to kind of make it look more gritty for like a live action type of suit. But I really like it. I think the colors look fantastic and they complement each other very well. the red and blue. It's amazing. And one thing I really love about this figure is the raised webbing, because I think that was, such a cool design choice that they chose to go with in the Sam Raimi movies. And it even carried over later on into the Amazing Spider-Man 2, movie suit. The raised webbing. I think the raised webbing just gives it such a nice aesthetic. Like when the light shines on it, and you can see like the webbing kind of like shiny in different lights. Like some parts look dark, and then other parts look lighter because of how the light is coming down on it. I really like that. So yeah, they really, really got that. They nailed it on this figure. It's nice and raised and sculpted and painted very cleanly. I gotta say, it's not perfect, but for this time, I would say the paintwork is very, very clean. I mean, just look at the webbing on his suit. Almost like hardly no paint bleed or anything like that. Pretty clean paintwork overall. Nice silver paint going throughout all the webbing on his costume and the places that have it. And yeah, it just looks really, really good. Ooh, my bad, guys. Just trying to swipe away a notification there. But anyways, here he is up close. You can see it on the back. Continued. Very, very nice. That raised webbing, the nice clean paintwork throughout. Really, really dope. I think they did a fantastic job on painting this figure, as well as getting in the subtle details of it. And obviously his suit also has like a raised kind of texture in the blue parts. It's kind of like a lot of people compare it to like a basketball type of texture, It's like that raised kind of bumpy texture, but it looks really, really cool. And it's almost like, kind of looks like little bricks, like a little brick pattern going through the blue parts of his suit, but it looks really, really cool. You can see he's got like a minor little paint scuff right there on the upper thigh. It's like a lighter blue. Some paint probably chipped away there over time, but it still looks overall very, very nice. I like that a lot. But yeah, man, he's just a dope figure looking, dope looking figure overall. And the only, one of the only things that kind of sucks about him, and a lot of reviewers have pointed this out as well, is that his head is kind of loose. He kind of suffers from that bobblehead thing that the New 52 Batman figure that I reviewed suffered from. He kind of suffers from the same thing. So his head is a bit wobbly, but you can still pose it around. It's not like, again, it's not like super loose to where you can't like get it into certain positions, but it definitely has a little bit more looseness than I would like. But it's still, it functions overall. So I'm still happy with it. But yeah, man. So I guess we'll get into play and display for this guy, and then we'll take a last look at the details of the suit, and yeah, we'll close out. Yeah, and you can see already he has a little trouble standing sometimes. His feet, I would say, are pretty good. Like, he's well balanced, but the only thing is that you kind of want to have him leaning backwards a little bit so that his body weight is kind of keeping him standing up and kind of going in the backwards direction, because if you have him leaning too far forward, the way his feet are designed, all the weight is going to kind of collapse his feet, and he's just going to fall forward. So like you just saw, so just something to mention. But overall, he's pretty well balanced once you get him in a good position. So as far as play and display, aka articulation, we'll start with the head. His head can look up. His head and neck kind of move together. They're like connected, but they're also like separate pieces. So you can get the head looking up about that far. A little side view, which isn't bad, pretty good. Definitely not like Iron Man flight pose looking up, but it's still pretty good for, I would say, for a Spider-Man figure. Looking down, he looks down about that far. So that's all right, kind of tuck his chin in. Decent. And then he does have a little bit of head. I don't know if this is just because of the looseness or not, but he does have, some side to side, head movement, a little bit of head tilting in there. So that's nice. That's always a nice touch. Head can, of course, rotate all the way around 360. I'm thinking it's on a ball peg. And is there any? Yeah, I think it's just a big ball peg. I don't think there's actually a hinge in there. Because as you can see, like from the back, You can kind of see like into the back of his head. Kind of just looks like a big, ball peg or ball socket. So I don't really see any hinge in there. So there is that. And then, like I said, the neck is kind of like a separate piece, so it kind of rotates independently as well. So you can rotate the neck around. So it's pretty cool. Nice, mostly sturdy piece, not too loose. So that's nice. For the arms, the shoulders are on a kind of like a ball joint, but I think the way they're designed, they're kind of like spring loaded, so they only go up to about a certain point, and then they kind of want to like pull back in. But even with that, you can kind of get the arms to almost a 90 degrees going out. His shoulders are like kind of rounded at the top, so they're not going to allow you to push too fast, too far past a certain point, but you can get his arms out about that much. And then back down by his sides, of course. Get him going forward. You get full rotation, 360 rotation all the way around. Got a nice bicep swivel that is very well hidden. They did a really nice, like pretty much seamless cut in there. So that's really, really good. And so you get some nice bicep swivel action in the upper arm right there. He has double jointed elbows that allow him to bend that much, which I would say is very, very good. Very on par with modern day Marvel Legends standards, so that's dope. Back out, he has a rotation in the forearm as well. Very seamless. And you can see like the paint, like where the webbing connects right there, very nice and seamless, and you can line it up and it looks really, really good. You can hardly notice it's there. So you can rotate that 360 all the way around. His hands have a hinge right here, kind of like right where the forearm meets the wrist. So, hands can bend in and out. Can't talk today. My bad, y'all. But yeah, they can bend in and out. And yeah, the hands themselves don't have rotation, but you can, rotate them, with the forearm. So you have that extra point of articulation. And the fingers are individually articulated. So the two middle fingers can bend in. They're on a hinge, so you can get some nice thwip action, some thwip poses in there. Right? Got to get those iconic whipping poses that all Spider-Man should have, right? But the outer two fingers, like the index and the pinky, they are not articulated. They're static basically. But you can bend in the two right there, so that's really cool. And you can see right here, they kind of painted like this little silver piece like in the middle of his hand. Let's see if we can get some focus on that. There you go. Got like a silver piece right there and right there. And that is meant to represent his web shooters, which is ironic because obviously in the movie he had organic webbing. He didn't have web shooters. But I think that's a nice touch. I actually really like it on the figure because, believe it or not, this figure is actually just a retool of what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? A mold that was used previously by a classic, a Toybiz Spider-Man Classics figure that I will be reviewing very soon on this channel as well. So it's actually just a retool of that same body, and that figure, obviously had web shooters, built and sculpted and painted into it. And so this is just a retool of that same figure, so they just basically kind of left that there. So that's why this movie Spider-Man figure appears to have web shooters on his hand. But I think it's a dope touch because, I always like, the web shooter aspect of Spider-Man. There was a point in the comics where he did gain, organic webbing. And I think it originally, happened in the, I want to say the Silk storyline in the comics. But yeah, he did eventually gain, organic webbing in the comics. So, that's a little fun fact to know about Spider-Man. But for the movie, obviously he had organic webbing. So that's a little difference or discrepancy between the figure and the movie, but I still like it. I think it's a nice touch. And he has it on both hands. So he does have like you can see the little dot on that hand as well that they painted in. But yeah, man, the details are exceptional. So back to articulation, play and display. He does have a upper waist, kind of like a diaphragm joint. Kind of allows him to get like a certain amount of bend to each side, and then he kind of wants to pull back. Kind of feels like spring loaded, you know, similar to the arms, but he's got a little bit of a crunch forward. If you push it all the way forward, it kind of springs back into place, but you can get about that much crunch going forward, and then about that much going back. Yeah, it's kind of like a weird joint system. I don't know exactly what they have inside of there, but I'm thinking it's like a spring or something, because it kind of just pulls back into place. You can feel it as you know, move him around. He does have a waist cut though, which is also nice and seamless. And you can rotate that for some extra articulation, which is very, very nice. You can see that. Very nice waist articulation there. For the legs, his legs can kick up that far. So very nice, about a 90 degrees like that. Going backwards, they can go about that far before they run into the sculpt. So I think that's pretty good, pretty decent going back. And then he does have a thigh swivel, which is again very seamless. So he gets some thigh rotation in the upper thigh right there. He has double jointed knees that allow a bend all the way, basically to where he can kick his own butt, pretty much like that. So that's really dope. He has a calf swivel right there, which is very nice. Also pretty seamless. Lines up pretty well with the rest of the leg, so that's dope. He's got a hinge in the foot that allows him to go down that far, all the way to the tippy toes. Get a little focus on that. There you go, see that? And then can go up that far. So that's pretty good. And then he also has toe articulation. So he has a hinge for the toes that allow about that much bend going up and then flat again, just like that. So yeah, man, he's a dope figure. I mean, you know, this is the superposable version of Spider-Man from that movie, and you know, for a long time I wasn't even aware that there was like a superposable version of this figure. You know, this first movie look. I know that there was one for the second movie. I was very, you know, aware of that figure being superposable. The Spider-Man 2 Toybiz figure. But yeah, for a long time I thought that pretty much the only versions of this guy were the quick change Spider-Man, which was like it basically had like the wrestler Spider-Man suit or whatever, and you could like, you know, interchange the mask on him, and there was like a Peter Parker face, you know, underneath, and then you had like the shirt, which was like a rubber piece that you could take off, and then, you know, it would expose the actual Spider-Man costume, you know, underneath. And then he had pants, I think, that you could rubber pants that you could take off, in like shoes, and then you could see like the actual Spidey costume underneath. So that was a really cool figure. I really wanted that one as a kid. The articulation on that one wasn't great. From what I remember, I think he didn't really have like any waist or torso articulation. I think just like his arms moved forward and backwards. I think they went out to the side too, but the articulation wasn't nearly as much as it is on this guy, obviously. So this is the superposable version. So obviously, you know, I would say this is the best version if you're gonna get, you know, the Spider-Man 1 look. You know, I always go for the superposable figures because those tend to be the best ones as far as articulation and, you know, detail. And yeah, I think this guy just kind of combines all of those great elements, you know, the things that make a great figure. You know, this is the one to get, I would say. So I would highly recommend, if you are thinking about getting a, you know, 6-inch version of the Spider-Man 1 movie suit, I would definitely recommend this guy, of course. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it as far as articulation. I don't think I missed anything on this guy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I covered all the points. As far as like, let's see, his arm. Yeah, his arm can't really go back like this way, like a swing, like, you know, this way. Like obviously it gets this rotation, but once you get it, you know, out to the side, it doesn't really go like forward and back. Like he doesn't have a butterfly joint basically, so that type of motion isn't really present on him. But I don't think you technically need it for this guy. I think he still gets plenty of range, and you can definitely get him into a lot of cool poses with the articulation that he's got. So matter of fact, let's get him into a nice dynamic pose before we sign out. show off some of the articulation of this superposable Spidey figure. So let's see if I can get him into a quick dynamic pose here. All right, let's see what we can do. Show off some play and display action. See if I can get him to stand. Okay, here we go, here we go. There we go, Spidey. Now the only trick is getting him to stand up and actually hold this pose. But I have been able to get him into some pretty cool poses, and I took pictures, so that was a lot of fun. Hopefully I can do it in this video so you guys can get a sense of that. Let's see. Just gotta find the right balance here. There we go. Okay, let me just kind of angle him towards the camera a little bit better here. Let's see. Let's see, get him turned a little more this way. Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can get some focus on that. A little bit of light on him. Yeah, check that out. Not bad, right? Matter of fact, let me turn him just a little bit more and get him closer to the camera first of all. You see his feet and everything. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Got him nice and balanced there. Check that out. You know, nothing crazy, but just a little pose to kind of show off some of his, articulation. Very, very good on this figure overall. So yeah, he is a very, very nice posable figure, as you can see. You can definitely get him into a lot of cool poses. I've had poses where he was like crouched down, kind of just like hanging out like he was on top of a building or something, kind of crouched down on the edge. So yeah, you can definitely achieve a lot of that with this guy. But I won't spend too much time doing that. I just wanted to show you guys a quick pose that he can do. But yeah, taking a last look at the details, he is very, very dope, man. In the suit, like, I really, really enjoy the spider logos from the first movie. Like this one, you can obviously see that the some of the paint has faded off of the front logo a little bit on some of the legs, but I'm gonna be filling those back in, so I'm not tripping on that at all. But I really, really like the first movie logos. They're just so iconic to me. Really like the overall size of this logo and how it looks against the silver webbing. And then this back logo, man, I love this back logo. That was one of the major changes between the Spider-Man 1 and 2 suits, is that the logos changed. And but I just really, really like the first movie back logo. I really like it a lot. This kind of bigger, fatter spider with these outstretched legs that kind of like, well, they go out and then they curve in, but they have like a nice like sharpness to them. I just really, really love this back logo. And it basically, here's like an image to prove my point. Show you guys real quick here. Let's see what is going on here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, here is really quickly. This, just to prove my point, this is like the difference between the first movie logo and the second movie. So this is the back logo for the first movie, and here's from Spider-Man 2. And both of these logos I really like a lot. Like, they both feel like Spider-Man to me, but just something about this one, man. That first movie suit, first movie logo, so iconic. I just really, really like how this spider looks. And I like that they kept this style in the Spider-Man, the new animated series, which is like probably like the darkest version of Spider-Man that I've seen. But yeah, it's just really, really dope. I like this logo so much, but they're both pretty iconic at this point. But yeah, just something about this one, man. I love it. I really, really love it. But anyways, yeah, man, this figure is amazing. And you can see like they did a very good job, sculpting the logo, that back logo, and it is nicely continued. Like the paint and sculpt is continued, so as you like crunch him forward, you can still see it. Gets a little bit gappy in there, but it's nicely continued throughout. I feel like it's a little bit lower on his back than it was in the movie. I think in the movie it was just slightly higher up, but that's just small detail. Still looks really, really good is the point I'm trying to make. And I just really, really like how it looks, and just just look at the detail in the suit. Look at the back muscles and everything, nicely sculpted. I think maybe even a slight wash will kind of help those muscles, stand out, protrude a little more. But I mean, the detail on this thing is phenomenal, man. Oh, love this figure. So dope. So happy to have it. Because, I never had it as a kid, like I said, and I always wanted, this version of Spider-Man. So very, very happy to add it to my collection. With that being said, guys, let's do a quick size comparison and then we'll head out. So here we have, you already know, we got to compare him to the first movie, Green Goblin. So here is the Superposeable Toybiz Green Goblin next to him. Let's move him back a little bit. I've got him in a slightly awkward pose with his feet. He's like bow-legged right now. But anyways, here is that first movie, Superposeable Green Goblin, also by Toybiz. See if I can get him standing. The Goblin is always tricky to stand for some reason. He is kind of leaning back, but here you can see the two of them standing together. Alright, so let me get some light on each of them. And there you have it. First movie, Spider-Man and Green Goblin standing next to each other. You can see they're standing at pretty similar heights. Very, very close in height there, so there you go. Had to see those two together, right? You already know, man, you already know. So there they are. Here he is with the Marvel Legends Stan Lee with a cap shield, and I gotta hold him because he doesn't stand, but there he is with his co-creator, Stan Lee, with Steve Ditko. And then here he is with the Marvel Legends Retro Card Shocker. Very, very nice to see these two together. And you can see Shocker's kind of got some size on him. He's definitely like a bigger framed figure, but I think these two still look very, very nice together. So you can get him standing there on his own. There you go. Here he is with integrated suit Spider-Man from No Way Home. Looking really dope, so in case you wanted to see him with some Tom Holland action. But yeah. And last but not least, I guess I'll show him with the black suit Spider-Man from the Red Hulk Build-A-Figure wave. And there you have it. So there it is, folks. That's my review of the Toybiz Superposeable 2002 Spider-Man, the Tobey Maguire suit, first movie. Really, really dope figure, guys. Definitely recommend picking it up. Thank you so much for watching this review. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next review. Spider